Gab's dissenter service came out recently, and I've been making a point to try and use it regularly because it is absolutely phenomenal. Here's how it works. Do you sometimes go to leave a comment on a video or an article, only to find that the comment section is disabled? Well, worry no more. Just head over to www.dissenter.com, type in whatever article you want to comment on, and boom, you've got a comment section. You can do this with any URL you like say my YouTube channel. I've got comments open, of course, but Dissenter organizes every post by URL. Hey, what the? Fuck you, Butters! I didn't expect anything to be here. Anyway, that's how you use Dissenter if you're excessively anal about it. Alternatively, if you're a regular human being, you pick up the Dissenter app, click on the Dissenter button in your browser when you're on a web page, and the Dissenter comments section for that page will load up in a side window. This is by far the easier way to use the service. But either way you use Dissenter, it is revolutionary. For years, people online have been complaining about the increasing centralization of power into the hands of Silicon Valley. Communities no longer have specialized forums, they just have subreddits or Facebook pages. A significant amount of public discourse, and to society's detriment, journalism, happens on Twitter. YouTube and Twitch have been more heavy-handed in auto-moderating comments and stream chats as time passes, with both demonetizations and expulsions becoming more and more common for even the slightest infraction. To the point that YouTube is now demonetizing videos if the comments posted on those videos are not family-friendly. Media outlets have begun removing comment sections on their articles, as more and more people become wise to their attempts to push narratives and ideologies into the mainstream. The internet is not the chaotic, frenzied, lively, amazing place it was 10 or 15 years ago, but Dissenter brings that all back, at least partially. Oh, Apple insiders no longer allowing comments on this Global Feminist Day article. No discourse allowed on leftist articles? Thank you, Dissenter, for proving my exact point right out the gate. Comments off on the related video, Apple. Not anymore. Block this, Apple. Torba is a national treasure. Amazon isn't allowing any more reviews of the QAnon book? Review it using Dissenter. Amazon can't stop you. And as it turns out, people are doing just that. Here's Vice's take on the whole situation. Users of far-right social network Gab can now comment on the entire internet. Oh no, we can't control the narrative anymore. Quick, get the hit pieces out as fast as we can. Make sure nobody chooses freedom. Gab, the social network of the far right, has extended its free speech platform with a tool that allows users to bypass rampant corporate censorship and comment on almost anything the company said Tuesday. Called Dissenter, the new service lets users comment on news articles, YouTube videos, and even individual social media posts, even if those sites don't have comment sections or have comments switched off. For example, movie review website Rotten Tomatoes announced that it was switching off comments on the new Captain Marvel movie this week over concerns that trolls plan to leave negative comments following remarks by the film's star. And thank God, Rotten Tomatoes has really been circling the bowl recently. I remember actually trusting it for unbiased opinions once. At least Dissenter allows us to solve the problem the way that we've solved most other problems. Outsource it to the marketplace. Another popular use is to comment on YouTube videos where comments have been disabled. YouTube last week purged the site of tens of millions of comments after it was revealed that they were being used to direct users to potentially sexual videos of children. The way this is written, the implication here is that Gab wouldn't delete comments that also somehow involved linking to sexual videos of children. But Gab's policy has always been to uphold the law of the United States and go not one step farther insofar as free speech is concerned. Radical ideologues like the ones at Vice would have you believe there's no middle ground between complete unfettered free speech, including all slanderous, inciting, illegal, pedophilic content, and overarching totalitarian control of speech and thought, with Silicon Valley's trust and safety team directly jacked into our brains at all times. Oh, what's this, David? No comment section on your shitty article? Aha, too bad! This is what Vice hates. The fact that with a simple click of the mouse, the narrative is now out of their control. And nobody's surprised that Vice-supporting SJWs on Twitter see this as problematic. So the alt-right platform Gab has produced an app called Dissenter that lets neo-Nazi shitstains and MRAs comment on closed web pages and social media. I'm not any of those, though. Well, you are if you use Dissenter. You'll be getting your Nazi membership card in the mail shortly. Tommy Robinson fans find new way to get around Facebook and Twitter bans. I know that Tommy's Panodrama situation has made the UK's media institutions massively butthurt, but Dissenter isn't just for Tommy Robinson fans. It's for everyone. This one actually reads more Orwellian than the Vice article. Like, listen to this. In the BBC's article announcing Robinson's latest social media ban, the comment section has been disabled, but in its place, there is a flowing conversation on dissenter. One Gab user, Crusader Keith, proclaimed his joy at being able to say what he likes in a BBC article. That is the problem these tyrants have in the end. Somebody is able to say what they like. Somebody is happy. Gab wants to add a comment section to everything on the internet. I remember the early days of the internet, when implementing a comment section was a big deal for a growing website. But now the true sign of growth is removing features, not adding them. What a strange world we live in. Dissenter comes at a time when platforms are struggling with how to manage what gets posted on their services, which is why it's so important. Freedom is the solution, not the problem. In February, YouTube disabled comments for tens of millions of videos, and also booted more than 400 channels for the comments that had been left. Imagine saying this in your article as if it's a good thing, that people lost their YouTube channels because of the comments posted on those channels by other people. That means that this person, the author of this article, Aaron Carson, thinks it's acceptable for me to go on an innocent channel with false troll accounts and spam it with YouTube disapproved rhetoric until YouTube decides to ban that channel for my actions. Nobody with a brain can think this is a good idea. Gab browser extension puts a far-right comment section on every site, and how dare they do so. The dissenter plugin, even just dissenting now warrants scare quotes, allows Gab users to discuss everything from tweets to Wikipedia pages in real time, without the fear of said comment being removed by the site's moderators. You know, I really think this is the online version of the overbearing helicopter parent who wants to prevent their children from having any secrets, getting into any trouble, or enjoying any fun until they're fucking 35, all the while forgetting what it was like to be young themselves. Now that they've lived through their own childhoods as free spirits, it's time for the entirety of human existence to be tightly controlled and regulated. It's hardly a unique idea. Pre-Reddit social aggregator Dig launched a comments tool in 2015 to encourage conversations on news links. But Dissenter is clearly tailor-made for the Gab crowd. And that reminds me, wasn't Dissenter made before? Oh yeah, I remember a web app like Dissenter 15 years ago, and it dried up because who gives a fuck what a bunch of random trolls online think. It was built by Google. It didn't dry up. They shut it down because the media, publishers, and advertisers lost their minds and pressured them to. We won't. Trolls surface truth. Truth is found in the comments section, always. Which is why publishers shut them all down. And here's the core of the matter. Dissenter is something that people all across the internet, with the exception of the isolated bubble that is the radical left, have been clamoring for years now. Of course, we should remember that censorship isn't a left-right issue. Today's censors are on the left, sure, but the right has been the great censor in the past, and they probably will be again in the future. The common view of the censor, at least when I was young, was either a fascist or a religious fanatic, both figures commonly associated with the radical right. But nowadays, it's the genderless, plaid-wearing, dyed-hair hipster tech journo. But regardless of their differences in politics, they all arbitrarily find some speech offensive to their sensibilities. They all desire social control, and so they all censor. If you hold an opinion, there's somebody, somewhere, who wants you to shut up. And in regards to public discourse, progressives have created a list of prohibited words and ideas, continually expanding it to include more and more speech as more and more people voice their own individual special complaints, with the common fear that eventually no speech at all will ever be allowed. The real solution, though, is to not cave to any complaints in the first place, as the ability for people to voice themselves dwindles, an ability that was and remains the foundation of the entire internet. Dissenter re-empowers the people in a monumental way.
In the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right. You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
In an age of curated content, where large companies dictate to their users that they will enjoy safe, plastic-wrapped, mindless, non-controversial media, dissent allows people to debate and discuss again. It allows things to actually trend instead of old media purchasing front-page spots. And it allows complaints to be freely aired without them being labeled as problematic. YouTube and Facebook are going the way of Las Vegas, where what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas, was a saying that once actually referred to wild cocaine gangbangs, but is now only uttered by obese moms in their 50s sipping on fruity drinks, losing a couple $100 at the casino, and turning in at 8:30 p.m. But the rough edges of the internet can't be rounded off the same way that Vegas's or Times Squares have been. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that smaller communities used to run their own tiny forums. The internet was once an endless frontier where everybody could carve out their own little homestead in the wild. But now, a lot of these communities simply rely on Reddit subs or Facebook pages due to the ease of it. And for a lot of them, that's fine. But as that list of prohibited words and ideas expands ever outward, more and more people will be banned from these huge platforms. Back in the day, if you were banned from a forum, fine, whatever. You move on to the next community. But now, when you're banned, you've been completely cut off from public discourse. There is no going to the next one when there is only one. Do that enough, and people start to group together on the fringes of the internet. When Gab popped up, both Silicon Valley and the left-leaning media realized that the internet wasn't like Yu-Gi-Oh!, where banning somebody to the Shadow Realm wasn't just a clever euphemism for killing someone.
Swiggity Swaggo Realm, say hello to the Shadow Realm.
When you ban somebody, they don't just vanish. When you erect walls, the world beyond them continues to exist. These tech giants centralized so much power that those who were banned had no alternative but to innovate. Dissenter is the graffiti on the walls that big tech erected around their consolidated internet. Dissenter has done something that so far Gab has unfortunately failed to do, and that's go mainstream. Gab's official Twitter account claims that 43% of Dissenter users have commented using the service. In comparison, most platforms see an 8 to 9% usage rate, with 90% of people simply passively consuming whatever's in front of them. Some of this can be chalked up to Dissenter being new, sure, but I do think a good chunk of it is a genuine desire for people to have a voice again. Honestly, the most fun I've had with Dissenter is outside of the culture war. I'll load it up on something completely apolitical and sometimes even ancient, like a Wii U soft mod guide, or an old "Is it a good idea to microwave this" video from 2007, or instructions on how to cook the perfect stir fry, and I'll just leave a random message, something innocuous. Something that somebody might not even see for another 5 years or something. It's like leaving behind a time capsule. I hope Dissenter continues to succeed. It absolutely is a work in progress. They've announced that they're creating their own trending pages for every single domain. So rather than dealing with, for example, YouTube's curated crap on the recommended page, we can just see Dissenter's neutral trending on YouTube selection. In my opinion, I could also use a follow or friends feature, so that you can see what people you want to follow are commenting on. But long term, I think Dissenter is going to change the internet in a huge way, far more than Gab ever could as a simple social media platform. When I set up a new PC, there's a few things I do right off. Replace Internet Explorer, get Discord and Skype. Install basic useful apps like ImageBurn, and Rikuva, and Hardware Monitor, and Steam. I think the Dissenter plugin is going on that list. With it, the internet feels like home again. It feels like I can voice my opinion and not have to worry about being blacklisted from 5 different social media companies Alex Jones style. Push comes to shove, I would rather be offended than be censored.
How can moderating this kind of dark, troubling content change the way people think?
Yeah, so, after I published my story, I actually heard from an academic researcher who said that she herself had found a similar experience when she was researching misinformation and disinformation. Our minds are super plastic, and so if you stare at something long enough, you're likely to come to believe it. I spoke to somebody who said that when she watched her 15th Alex Jones InfoWars video, he said something that made sense to her, and it freaked her out because she had sort of, she'd been trying to keep her wits about her and trying to make sure that she didn't, get taken down a rabbit hole. And all of a sudden, she herself was kind of starting to believe in these views. So it seems like it's a really underexplored aspect of being a content moderator. And of course, the scary thing is you might only do this job for 8 months, 10 months, but then, these new beliefs that you have could last for a lot longer.